So I'm here with Matthew Januszek, and he is the CEO and founder of Escape Fitness and the host of the Escape Your Limits podcast. Matthew, thank you so much for taking some time out with me today.
You're welcome.
So I wanted to come find out first and foremost, we've really enjoyed working with you at Command Your Brand. And for you, why did you really come to Command Your Brand? Like, what were you looking to solve?
Yeah, a couple of things really. We've got a sort of fitness, functional training, fitness equipment business, and so one of the things that I was looking to do is to be able to get a bit more about what we do and the insights and the background on our company out to a few more people, and very aware that the way people consume information nowadays has changed, and certainly I'm a big believer and a consumer of podcasts, and I just felt that this was a really important vehicle to be part of, and I was looking for a company that knew the space and didn't just kind of talk about it. They actually played and operated in the space, and you and I had been connected, and I really like what you've done, and I followed you, and I just felt that you would be able to sort of fully understand what I was trying to do and why and how. So the first part was just to help get greater awareness of Escape, particularly in the US, because we're relatively new. We've been around for 20 years, but we've only been in the US for just coming up for 5 years now. So it's important for us to find a way of doing that in a new market. And then the second thing was that we also run our own podcast, which is called Escape Your Limits, and which is what I host. So there was a couple of things for me. One is to sort of put myself in the shoes of the guests and to sort of see what they go through, which is quite an eye opener, and also to build the brand through that as well. We want to sort of connect with other audiences. Our message on the podcast is fairly unique, so we wanted to, we're not doing necessarily what's already out there, so we wanted to just explain a little bit about what we do in that as well. So it was a great opportunity to promote that through other podcasts and people that listen to podcasts.
I love that. And one of the things that's really important to us is, like, before you even go on a show, it's important that we really feel like we have your story lined up, that we have you set up in a way that you're really, set up to not just be on the right show, but be an awesome guest as well. What was that getting started intake process like for you? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, not realizing how much there was to it. The first thing was like, yeah, we need to be doing you and I had the conversation. Then it's like, oh, okay. There's more to being a guest than just rocking up. So I think what I did like is that you guys kind of raised that to my attention before I needed to know about it. And it's like, look, here's some things to think about. Here's how to put your story together. Here's how to think of your subject. So I worked with your team, and they really kind of helped me prepare a lot of that information in advance. And then did the first few, which was great, but learned a lot. And then I had the opportunity to sort of interact with you and your team to kind of just sort of tidy up a few of those things to make it better. And now I think after doing quite a few, I'm in a good position. But certainly being part of your group and having you as a kind of a virtual mentor is helping me get through those different stages. And I think there's been many stages. You get to the first stage and it's just getting through it and it all to work. And then as you've done a few, you kind of want to, I guess, constantly improve and refine and make it better. So I think it's just having someone that can kind of take you through those stages of when you're first starting, and then when you are to become sort of more of a intermediate, and hopefully go on to be an advanced person at doing that.
So you've actually gotten to work with one of our podcast publicity experts, Brooke, for a lot of booking and scheduling and everything. What's that process and working with Brooke been like for you?
Yeah, it's been very good. So I can now appreciate, because we book a lot of guests ourselves, and understand that it's not just a case of contacting someone and them agreeing that it's going to be at 12 o'clock on Monday and then, forget about it. Obviously there's a lot, people change their schedules, and so being on the podcasting side of booking lots of people and dealing with lots of changes and that kind of thing, I I can certainly appreciate how good a job she does. And, you know, when things don't always go to plan, which happen in any business, she's been really good. And you have as well, to be honest, you know, quickly sort of jumping on the phone and fixing things and sorting out schedules. So, you know, my experience has been pretty good, mainly because it's like when things don't go wrong, for me, that's always the test of how good a business you're working with. You know, do they just sort of say, well, sorry, you know, that's life, or do they actually proactively, you know, go out of their way, you know, out of hours to sort things out? And I think that's one of the things that I've got from you guys, and which is why I'm decided to continue to work with you guys, because I know that I can rely on you, and I know you've really got my best interest at heart, which is, you know, very important.
I got it. Well, you and I were talking about this a little bit in the beginning, and I think one of the things people don't realize is going to happen is you actually get a lot more sure in your message, and you actually get a lot better at telling your own story. Like, how has going on podcasts helped you in your storytelling and your ability to deliver in that way?
Yeah, certainly from that perspective, it's really helped, because it's not until you're on the other side of the table that you realize it's quite difficult, and you've got all these ideas in your head, and you can go off in so many different tangents, and it's almost like, well, what message are you delivering to your to the listener? And I suppose if your goal of doing this is to raise your own profile and the profile of your brand, then you need to work with someone like yourselves that can kind of help you narrow down that message and say, look, you know, some of these podcasts are 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It's not that long, and you can burn a lot of time without really saying anything. So I think one of the things it's helped me, in conjunction with your support, is to really narrow down that message, find the best way of telling that story, and also at the same time make it entertaining and provide value to the listener. And that's something that's happened with a combination of actually doing a number of shows, just experience, and then secondly, getting the sort of advice from your team in terms of how to actually go about doing that.
Cool. So for somebody that was listening or is checking this out, was, you know, on the fence or thinking about using Command Your Brand, like what would you tell them?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, I spent a lot of time looking for people to do this, and there are a bunch of different agencies that say they can help do it. But I think the thing that I would ask is, or the thing I would suggest is to say, you know, we'll have a look about, you know, what you know, the proof is in the pudding, and have a look about what they're doing. You know, are they really living and breathing this? What's the track record? You know, speak and listen to people like me that have actually gone through it, and also look to see whether they're actually practicing this on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, you know, if anybody follows you and spends any time looking at it, you know, you're not just got the agency, you're actually doing this and learning it. You're sharing a lot of ideas in your Facebook groups. And I would say, you know, just for that alone, you know, separates you from anyone else. And, you know, if you don't have the time to go in and properly research like we did, and I feel we made the best decision, then, you know, just from my comment, I would say I've certainly got some, you know, great quality of guests, very targeted, a high level of support, and you know, in terms of the cost, you know, it's fantastic value for money. You know, you could spend that same amount of money in many other areas and not get half the amount of traction in terms of, you know, how many people are actually listening to your message. And I don't know the combined number of people that we've been in front of as a result of this, but it's, you know, there's thousands and thousands of people that I've had the opportunity to get in front of for a relatively little cost. And that's not just, you know, it's not just selling and promoting. This has actually been telling a story and providing value to people, which is quite different. So, you know, if you've got a certain amount of money to spend on marketing, then I would say this is a pretty, you know, it's almost like why wouldn't you do it? You know, it's a bit of a no-brainer, I would